My name is Byron Espinoza, and anything is possible. Well, I remember growing up in my country, Guatemala. I remember about the age of 6 years old, I would go to the town I was born in. My grandmother, she ran a brothel, and I remember getting up to that town with an uncle of mine that was, it still is, 8 months younger than I, and being exposed to things that a normal kid shouldn't have, seeing things that I guess you would see in a brothel. We would look through these little cracks in the walls and stuff, and we would see a prostitute having sex, you know, and we used to go back and forth to that town, and every time I would come, I would look forward to that. The first time I got drunk, I was about 6, 7 years old, at family parties, a lot of alcohol laying around, so I grabbed this cup of something that here is called tequila. It's different in our country. So at a young age, I knew how to alter my mind. Like around 10 years old, give or take, I remember my uncle used to let me hide his stash of marijuana or weed. Well, one day I got curious, I light up a joint, I smoked it. He came in, saw me high, and I thought he was gonna be angry at me, and then he looked and said, hey, you know what, light it up. So we started smoking together, and from then on, I became the life of the party. Everywhere we went, they liked to see me high. This little 10-year-old kid running around all high. Little did she know that I'd be smoking pot with my uncle. At 14, I remember being back here in LA, continue selling drugs and all that, smoking PCP, and then getting stabbed by a rival gang member and my back with a screwdriver, doctor saying, a half-inch more, you should have been paralyzed. Continue selling and making a lot of money, continue the gang banging and all that, and then these two girls say, hey, can you be our pimp? We want you to pimp me. I was about 17 years old, and I thought it was a good idea, but then I said, hey, I'm a hustler, I make my own money, so I said, no, I'm the man. I remember going to jail, older hypes or heroin users getting upset because they used to see black tracks here and says, are you stupid, are you crazy, you're gonna kill yourself? And I knew that if I miss, it will cost me my life. And I used to see my older friends or younger friends getting OD, dying on heroin, and thinking, you know what, that stuff is good, where do they get it from? I want some of that, because death becomes the ultimate high. I thought I was invincible. I remember in January the 3rd, 1991 at around 8:45 p.m. and people ask me, how could you remember that date? How could I forget? It's when I end up walking into a church, into a drug and alcohol abuse program, and there was a preacher that day that said, if you're tired of being sick and tired, and he kept repeating that, I think at least 10 times, animated preacher, I felt he was pointing at me and said, are you tired? And I'm inside, I'm screaming, I'm tired of this life. I want something different. And it says, then you will come up here and allow Jesus to come in and change your life. And I did. Remember waking up the next day, going about my business, and then it dawned on me and I said, wait a minute, I should be sicker than a dog. I need a fix. But I don't. And I started checking the joints in my back, all this pain that you have when you're going through withdrawals, that were gone. And I remember jumping up and down with tears in my eyes. I've been delivered. I couldn't believe that. And I go, wow, this Jesus stuff is real. One preacher one time gets up there and says, you know what? I cannot change you. This building, this church can't change you. The only thing that could change you is this book. And I remember him holding the Bible. And I remember thinking, wait a minute, I can't change. I don't know how to read. How's that gonna happen? I remember grabbing that Bible with tears in my eyes saying, God, I don't want to go back to the life. I don't want to go back. You need to teach me how to read this book. And you know what? He did. From then on, I grew up in the church, started taking classes, going to Bible college, and I became a pastor. So you know what? All things are possible if you allow God to come into your heart and change it. If he did it for me, I believe he could do it for anybody that is willing to open up their hearts to him. But remember this, anything is possible.